Good morning, everybody. Hello, how are you? How are you? I hope everybody is well this week. Let me just say that we're going to be jumping right in this morning. So I want to welcome you all and to say to you that we're continuing with the major cards this morning. So here we have the next card, Justice. Now, Justice works again with one of the astrological signs, Libra. So this is the conjunction with Libra, the star sign Libra. And justice represents balance, harmony, and relationships. And as I said to you, we will always be looking to see what's going on with the major card by feeding in the energy from a minor card. Cynthia, hello, how are you doing? Thank you for joining me. How are you? Hi, Cynthia. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm just going through the major cards. We've done the beginning of those, and so I'm now working with Justice. And as I said, I'm jumping right in. So this is a card of relationships. Now, it's not always about romantic relationships. I'm really pleased Cynthia's saying she's good. Excellent. If you want to catch up with the other notes, please look at the previous videos. They're on Facebook Talk Tarot. They're also loaded onto YouTube, as this will be. So I've got 4 people watching. Thank you so much. 5, lovely. So working in conjunction with Libra, working in conjunction with all relationships. So loving relationships, business relationships, relationships in the home, with the family, with your neighbours, everything. Okay, yes, it's a card of liberty, it's a card of freedom, and it has some ideology attached to this, people with their ideas, what they're wanting to do, making sure that this is how it should be. Obviously, it's a card of law and order. Again, a word of caution to you all. You must be aware that we cannot give legal advice. On most platforms, the choice is yours, but people can come at you. So even though you may be able to see things, it's probably not a good idea to actually give people legal advice. You really can't. What you can do is say to them that I really can't talk about that. I'm not the reader for you. Or you could actually say, well, we can have a look at mentally, emotionally, how this is going to affect you while this is going on. What we can't do is look at the outcome and, whether they're going to get their comeuppance or whether you're going to be found guilty or not guilty or anything like that. You just don't, okay? But you are in a position to be able to look for yourself, of course. So yeah, it's law and order, but don't go giving legal advice. You can actually look at, this is going to go legal, or, I'm signing a document for a mortgage. Is it going to be notarized? Is it all going to go through smoothly? These kind of things, There's also a feeling of equality with the Justice card. Look at the scales, that will help you with knowing it's Libra. Think of a lovely Libra that you know. Think of somebody that you can relate to. My father's a Libra, so, I look at that. My grandmother was a Libra. They were quite similar characters. But then, I know an awful lot of Libras that are not like my father or my grandmother, or even my clients, for that example. So, civil law, okay? So you can look at anything that matters of civil law. But again, I would actually urge you not to be involved in a reading where you would give any advice. You could say, yeah, this looks like you're going to be able to take them to court, or, that's the end of it. Or, yes, the electricity board are coming at you, because they're going to wave some legal papers at you. Those kind of things, okay? Justice is a two-edged sword. What may be just may not be fair. So sometimes justice will be done, but the fairness of that may not come out as in the way that the person intended, or what was their hopes, or what was their actual sort of whole reason for pursuing justice. It can be that it can cut either way, You know, you can get the fact that, yes, they do get their comeuppance, or something to actually point in the direction that the justice was awarded to you. But it could actually be that it isn't particularly fair. You know, oh, that's not fair, they got away with the fine, you know, this, that, the other. Various things can actually happen in life, you know, where they may get their just deserves, but it might not be fair to you or to the person that you are reading for. As I said, I would urge with justice that you make it more about your relationship card, that you bounce in there. Some kind of things that I would actually say, his perfect example is if justice actually popped up with the Knight of Pentacles, you would be feeding this court card energy into the Justice card. Now, this is Taurus, okay, but Justice is Libra. So Libra, knowing them, they're very fair, they're very calm, they're very balanced. They sit on the fence, they take their time, they kind of go, maybe, yeah, yeah, okay. They're not the ones to actually lead. But if you got, say, this court card feeding into the Justice card there, and you've got the Pentacle family, and indeed this is a Knight, one could say that in the relationship that this is somebody that's very stable, very steady, quite slow, quite accurate in what they do, pays attention to detail, and with that Libra influence, you'll be able to see that they're very fair, they're very calm, very kind, they're very gentle, but they are somebody that is stabilised. Okay, so that's what we'll be doing, and that's how you would know in a relationship you're looking for a court card. Okay, so there's many court cards, of course. Different ones would give you different aspects of that person. If it was that we simply got this, and we've got the Justice card and we've got the Ace of Swords, we're not talking about a relationship energy or aspect of that person. We would actually be looking at the fact that the relationship is something brand new coming in. There's ideas around relationships. There's a cutting away from a relationship and maybe a new beginning going on with that relationship. Not cutting away as in I'm going. Remember, it's a two-edged sword as in for justice, so it's also a two-edged sword here when you've got the Ace of Swords. So this would be something brand new, an idea in the relationship of something that the pair of you are going to do, rather than the significance of a court card, which would be an aspect of that person. Okay, so that's our Justice card. Let's move that now into knowing that if we've got Libra around us, go and look at a Libra. Go and get to know somebody who's Libra. What are they like? How do they talk? How do they walk? What do they behave like? Are they somebody... Not everyone's like the 12 aspects of just Libra, but you've got to have something that makes sense to you. And if you've got a lively Libra and they are good at leading and making decisions, that's how it works for you. If you've got somebody that sits on the fence and you've got a combination of the two, you've got to look at the other cards coming in to help you work out and determine exactly what the aspect of that person is, even though psychically you know somebody that's similar, but it doesn't fit. It's not popping into your head in the same way. So it's all to do with your gut feelings will come in, and that's what we want. You know, you don't want to just be reading the meanings. You want to actually have the meanings to make you feel that you can look at your intuitive self, your psychic self, and take you forwards so that it all comes together. But weaving the whole thing together for you in this way of giving you some grounding will help you know your cards and help you know what you're looking for. Then you can really take off in your psychic ability, which is probably already there, but you just need something to give you the bones of how to actually put this map of all these cards and feed them all together. Okay, so let's move on to the Hanged Man. All right. Morning, Cynthia. As in, she says she's good, so I'm just going to mention that. And we've got Tony here, which is lovely. Bear with me, folks. I'm just going to take a sip of my hot drink. It's pretty hot where I am at the moment, and we've got some clammy hot weather. So you're going to have to forgive me a little bit because we're not sleeping brilliantly. It's too hot, and sipping just to make sure that we're hydrated. So we've got the Hanged Man. Right. This can confuse people. What does it mean? Well, have a look at the picture. Let's start with that. He's hanging upside down, all right? So if you think of somebody who stands on their head, they're going to see the world extremely differently. And by seeing the world in a very different way, you are in a position to be able to view things and see things through a complete different perspective. Therefore, if you stand on your head, you'll see things upside down, which means the world looks different. Not literally, of course, but if you think of it like that, that's what the hangman's doing. And, you know, if you're standing on your head or hanging from a tree, you ain't doing anything, are you? You're not doing a thing. You're stuck, you're stable, you're still. So this is a card of stillness. I would always say this is a card of patience, all right? It works in conjunction with Neptune. Neptune, the watery world of Neptune. So again, if you can find out a little bit about the planets and what they're about, Neptune is watery world. It's the sea, it's the imagination, it's the dreams, it's the fantasy, or even sometimes the fact that everything's a little bit strange, you know, a watery world, it doesn't make sense. It's all in maybe symbolism or a dreamlike state where you can't actually piece it all together. Well, that's time then to actually go still. And a lot of people ask me about, should I meditate? Excellent. Yes, if you can. Very, very few of us find it easy to meditate on just something and let our minds go completely blank. So my advice to you would be to actually hope that you get to that, but expect not to. And the bonus would be if you did. Instead, it would be good to just try and let your thoughts roll, let them go anywhere they want, let your head just go to wherever it takes you. And if you get a moment where things feel still, that's perfect. It doesn't need to be hours and hours of stillness. Sometimes it's good to be able to meditate by using a guided meditation where you are listening or following visualization or somebody who's speaking to you, like hypnosis or guided meditations that are stillness. You'll find what works for you. More importantly, just to relax. And even though you think, oh gosh, my head was all over the place, it's fine, because you've allowed everything to sort itself out, even if it was chaos. Once that's sorted and your thoughts have rolled, you're in a place of peace and calm, and then things will come to you. You don't have to have that exact, I'm unable to, clear my mind totally and go into complete stillness. It's a rarity, and it is an acquired skill. These days, because I live in such a beautiful sort of country that surrounds itself with mountains and sky and nature, I just look up at all of that and I drink it all in with my eyes and I listen. I don't actually want to close my eyes because it's too beautiful where I am. It's more, where I am is more beautiful. It's just very natural. I'm in the mountains of Turkey, simple as that. Even if I was down at sea level, it's absolutely beautiful. So I do tend to actually look at where I am. When I was in London, I used to sit in the park and watch the ducks and the birds and the animals, people walking their dogs. I used to walk my dogs, those kind of things. That's where the answers will come. I'm talking about this subject because it does work in conjunction with Neptune and that meditative state. It's your expressions, your imagination. And people say, oh, is it just my imagination when I'm looking at the cards? Maybe. Doesn't matter. Your imagination is very powerful. It can speak to you. Your dreams, a good idea is to maybe sometimes look at the fact that you are able and capable of being able to know what your dreams are all about. I would actually say that one's dreams can sometimes have so much symbology that they are indeed very good bullet points and sources of being able to give you some direction in many different ways. Now, one of the things I would say is it's good. Whoops, let me get rid of this. Sorry, folks. Seem to be. There we go. Let's bring that back to clarity, and sorry about me moving around the screen. Yes, one of the important things of looking at your dreams is to look at the symbology, and it's more to do with the highlights rather than the details. People will say, shall I get a dream book? Yes, go online, look at what it's got to say, write things down. What was the message? Especially if you've got a recurring dream. So the Hanged Man is very much steering towards that stillness of doing nothing, of going inside oneself with one's dreams, fantasies, reflections, visions. It's also a card of rebellion. Okay, it's a bit like, I don't want to do it. I'm stubborn. I'm staying put. No, thank you. So those kind of things, very important. Okay, it has a state of limbo. Okay, thank you for the hearts. Thank you for the thumbs up. I wonder. Bear with me a second. Just sending that link out to anybody that wants to join us. So, indeed, it can feel as if there is a rebel sort of within the Hanged Man. Think of punk rock, think of, times when people would kind of go, no, I'm going to dress like this, I'm making a statement. I don't want to do that, I don't want to follow the crowd, I want to be different. So somebody that is actually going through a trend of following either some music or some sort of political thing, they're trying to say to you, look at me differently. Don't go in there and see me as you want to see me, or don't assume you know me. I think that's more importantly. Many years ago, I taught a lot of teenagers. I was a driving instructor. Still did this, but that was my day job. And I was very privileged to be around, 17-year-olds wanting to get started. And change of hair and clothes came in every week. And I'd go, wow, you look amazing. What's this all about? And they'd go, I want people to know me. They think they know me, I hope this throws them off, and they look a little deeper. Just such an amazing statement to hear people say that. And I was teaching in Hampstead and Camden Town in London, which is very much about, one being an individual. So think of things like that. It really does help you when you're trying to get a card instead of just looking at the card. What does it mean? What does it make you think of? I've just told you some of mine. So those are the things that help you try and piece it together. And once you've got those pieces, your intuitive side comes in, your gut feelings come in, you put all the other cards together in place, and it'll all start to knit together like a map that you can actually say to somebody, here's your map, it's up to you, which way do you want to go? You're going to keep coming back to this point, but maybe you want to go over here instead. Maybe you want to have your limbo or your rebel stage as in later on in life, you're not going to do it now, but it's going to come and bite you on the backside at some point in life, so whenever you want to do it, that's what it's about, okay? Limbo. Sometimes people go, I'm stuck, and this is, you can really see that somebody is stuck. This often appears in a position of the person's physical self, or in the spread that I use in the obstacles. It can also be what's in what I call the foundations of the reading, the roots of the reading, telling them they've got to be patient, they've got to do nothing, they're in limbo, and they've just got to wait, and they've got to view things very differently. people can actually come into the spread in position of the influences of others. Could be for that person that you're reading for. And you can see it there and go, I think we're a bit lazy. There'd be other cards there, probably lots of pages, kind of saying, can't be bothered, start it but don't finish it. Particularly if you see lots of pages, such as Page of Swords, frustrations, Page of Cups, I feel it, but I can't be bothered. I'm just romantically in my emotions. I'd love to, but I can't be bothered, Or you would get the more active Page of Wands, I want to make it happen, but I don't have the knowledge to make it happen, so, I might give up. So it can be that somebody's stuck, it can be that somebody is in limbo, it can be that somebody is needing to wait, it can be a strange time, it can be very frustrating, and it would depend where it's come up, and it would depend who we're talking about, the person we're reading for, and I'll be showing you how to work all that out. But for now, just think of someone that this could relate to. That's what it's all about. It's also looking at things from a different perspective, and above it, I've put strange. Can feel strange. Sometimes we're busy, but, the answers come when we're not busy, when we're able to listen, when we're able to see. Relaxing sometimes. Most of the things that occur for me are in places where I would say, I'm watching something, I'm seeing something, I'm hearing something, it's in conversation, it's an experience that I have. It's not always about being in a meditative state. Sorry if you can hear the power box going. I did warn you, our electric's a bit cooky today, so I'm carrying on and jumping through this a bit faster than I normally would. I do want to welcome you all, and I'm terribly sorry that I'm getting on with it a little bit quickly. I'm just a bit aware that our time may be limited before power does actually cause me to not be able to broadcast. So thanks for your patience today, and let's hope next week it's a little bit calmer with the electric and more balanced. Okay, hanging around. Yeah, obviously that's the name of the card, isn't it? A hanged man, Sometimes people see this as sacrifice, and so do I, but it would depend on what else is going on around it. If there's lots of swords, lots of emotions coming up all around the surrounding of the other pairs in the actual spread, then yes, I would say you'd be looking at the fact that there is some sacrifice going on there. Waiting, absolutely. It's a period of not marching on and doing things. And people say, well, if it comes up with a card that's incredibly busy and on the move, like a knight, most of the knights are moving. I'm thinking of the Knight of Wands in this case, showing a horse galloping forwards in the distance rather than he's not going anywhere. Look, that's about the only one in the deck that, as a knight, does actually show a stillness, a steadiness, and not moving. But if you have got a contradiction going on and you do see something where there's lots of movement, I'm using an example of, the Knight of Wands. I've actually got the Knight of Swords here to show you as well. What do I mean? That contradiction between the two. Let's use him for a minute. Just happen to have him out. Well, you've got somebody here that needs to wait, but like most of us, that's showing impatience. I'm not happy about this. Come on, let me go. Let me move. As opposed to this, where somebody's kind of grounded and going, I'm plodding, I'm waiting, I know, but I'm focused. That focus is there because we can see he's looking at that pentacle. You see, sorry about that. Sometimes it's hard to actually work out where to actually put a card if I'm holding it up. Hence why you've got your worksheets, and I didn't want to be throwing cards in front of the screen willy-nilly. But occasionally I just want to show you an example. So there's hanging around, this period of waiting, this time of nothing happening. And if you look at the card, no movement. If you see in a card that there is movement, you probably see that as life is complicated, you've got that going on here, telling you to be still, and then you've got the other card kind of going, no, 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 no. It's that battle, swimming against ourselves, and you would be looking at the person that you're reading for. If it's not for you, you're in a position here to be able to put that all together and work out how that person is thinking or feeling, or what their actions are, or how restricted they are in their actions, and what they're about to manifest in the product of their decisions, of what they're there to face, what their challenges are, and what their choices are, of course. So, the Hanged Man, I think it's a great card. I think it's a card that we all need because it's what helps us move forwards by being still. Okay, so that's the Hanged Man. So moving on now, I'm going to go into our next card, which is the Death card. Another one that freaks people out. Okay, let's go straight to this. This works in conjunction with Scorpio. Okay, and Scorpio they are the water sign again. They are loving people, people that have great depth, great intensity, amazing capacity for being able to feel everything, but they are quite guarded about how they share that to the people around them, even those that they love can go, well, you'd never know, but they are full of depth. Okay, so again, try and get to know somebody who is Scorpio. If you don't know somebody, pick a celebrity. You know, that's what I used to do. Oh, I don't know anybody that's Aquarius or whatever. I know plenty of Scorpios, and they are all the most amazing, kind people that they don't boast or brag about what they're doing. They simply just do. Okay, and I know lots and lots of them, but the intensity and the passion is always very, very pure. Okay, so if you're a Scorpio, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. So, how does it relate, the Death card? Death of an old self. It's like stripping away the old you for the new. Okay, and it's massive transformation. Massive transformation. The tarot can never predict a physical death, ever. It is always talking about an aspect of one's self, and it would depend upon the card that was next to it, as I say to you. Reading with just one card, I've done that too, years and years ago. You know, and yes, you follow a spread and you try this spread and try that spread, and that's brilliant. But it can be overwhelming, and it can actually make you feel that there's a lot of confusion. Well, I was lucky enough to learn this method, and I've stuck with it ever since because I just don't feel that I need to bring in any other spreads or do anything that's different. I will shorten my spread, and do a snapshot read, a pair, or 3 pairs, whatever. What I'm trying to say to you is there's no need to learn reverse cards because the minor card being fed into the major card will tell you everything. All right? So, death of oneself. So, I'm going to use the example that if you have death of oneself and we've got this card, which is Cups, and it's the 7 of Cups, then you would be looking at the fact that the transformational change would be the emotions. And in this case, this card of utter overwhelming emotions, confusion, could lead you to feel messy, and very much overwhelmed and a shadow of yourself because emotionally you've got so much going on, too much choice, too much emotional sort of pulling, not allowing you to think or do that kind of thing. If you got the Death card come up with this, it'd be showing that that's changing. You're not going to feel like that anymore. Do you see? And of course, if that came up as it, and it was, shall we say, Pentacles, this one here is 5 of Pentacles, it would show there's a change in the material side of life, where in this case, 5 of Pentacles is about struggles. So it'd be showing that that's going through a change. all right, and that your struggles of finances and feeling a little bit left out in the cold materialistically, but that's all set to change. You're going through a transformation. It's probably not someone else coming in to do that. It's probably an aspect of you that's actually forcing those things to happen or intending them to change because it's the right time for you. So that will give you a little sort of idea. Just one more here. If we were to actually look at Death card here with Knight of Swords, this is impetuous behaviour, dashing around, I've got to do this, I've got to do that, I'm bored with that, no, I can't do that, blah, 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 all of that. It would show that that's going to change, you're going to settle. Okay, so those kind of things are sort of giving you an idea of what we're talking about. And the suits will tell you whether it's a change mentally, emotionally, in your actions, and the product of your actions, which is what you earth and manifest. So there'll be 4 different aspects that you could look at. So people say what they're feeling, and you might just get, their thoughts. Are there any changes? Have they changed their mind? This is hard to look at. What's going on? And is it around them or is it around the person that you're reading for? So as we said, it never shows the death of the future. It's a very big card of change. Transformation, the death of an old self, getting rid of old, outdated habits. So, somebody came along and said, I want to stop smoking or drinking, or, I want to get my well-being into check. I want to develop myself. I want to actually change and be a better version of me, healthier, self-care, that kind of thing. You'd look at the Empress and see how they're nurturing themselves and valuing themselves, and you'd look at this card to see what changes they're capable of making. And if it pops up and it's something like this, it shows emotionally they really will want to do it. If we see this, yeah, they will. If we're looking at something of this, seriously, they're thinking about it. But if we're looking at matters like this one, they only think they get tired, they need to rest, they're not ready to make those changes. Okay, so, and that's in their thoughts. Okay, so there are lots of things that I can show you here to help you know where we're going to be going with all of this if you wish to. If you just simply want to learn the meanings of the cards, these videos are for you. Further down the line, I will be doing intermediate, and intermediate is very much about pairs. I do want to say at this point, pairs of cards, but it also really is nice if there are people that can come into the lesson with me, and it'd be good if you gave me a time where you'd be more available to follow the live video that I'm doing here on Facebook. It doesn't really matter at this stage. Why? Because when we get to intermediate, it would be wonderful if we had people together in pairs. And that's how I've always taught tarot. A group of 10, I've put them into 5, and they've got a partner. They can swap around each week if they want to, but simply it's being able to have a tarot buddy. And then, we need a subject and we need to practice. So we pick a celebrity, or I'm sure on Facebook, how lovely it will be that the general public might want a free reading from a student who's trying to figure out the cards, and I'll be there to guide you. What do you see? What's this? What about that? To help you along. So that's kind of what I'm going to be covering in intermediate, but I can only do that if people are interacting. I can do the intermediate and show you, but there's nothing better than interacting with this. So Cynthia, thanks so much for joining me, and Tony. It's wonderful. I know that lots of you watch this later on because Monday morning at 9 o'clock isn't always best for everybody, but I just thought it would start the week for us and you could look at it when you want. So please, your comments on Facebook. When would be a time that might work for you to interact in the video and get some help here from a tarot buddy, from me, and have somebody to read for who knows you're a student and is delighted that you're going to look at their question. And don't worry about the pressure of reading for somebody, because if you are lost or you say perhaps the wrong thing, I can actually tell you, gosh, no, it's this in this case. In another case, you'd be absolutely right. So we can very gently and kindly say, that's great, but in this particular case, it's not relevant. So that's what I intend to do, but that will all depend on you guys. I can only be here to help you along, and if you let me know when's a good time, perhaps all of that can actually work in the way I'd intend it to be. The next one, Temperance, and this is going to be our last card for today. Quite a big one, okay? Temperance works in conjunction with Sagittarius. So again, we're on a star sign, fire, okay? Sagittarius is fire. And what is Sagittarius like? Well, think of somebody that you know that's Sagittarius. Same old thing, you know? Are you one? Is there one in your family? You know, how do they behave? How do they act? You know? And it's always good to actually have a comparison of more than one Saggy. So you can go, oh, they're not like that person at all. Well, there's many reasons for that, or not just all 12 star signs. It's more complex than that, but it will give you some great idea as to characteristics and the aspects of that person that could come in time and time again and give you a common thread to help you understand who they are and what they are. Okay, this is a card of long distance travel. If you look at the card, you can see the angel there standing with the wings. I always think of that as wings, bird, air travel, aeroplane wings. And there she stands with one foot very firmly on land while testing new waters. So it's a card of caution. It's a card of saying, you know, at times in one's life, you can't just go diving in to the sea. You've got to put your toe in very gently and keep on land so that you have that grounding, so that you take it gently. It would apply for when one's making a change, like I did with tarot. From being a driving instructor, I went into tarot for a time, but I made that exchange over, gosh, it was years. You know, I did tarot for part-time for years on top of my full-time job. I'd read evenings, weekends, that kind of thing, do shows, swap things about. Didn't want to make that complete dive into just doing tarot because you've got to build something. So there's an example of what I mean by you've got to test it gently, slowly. You've got to mix and blend everything together in moderation. You know, sometimes swapping one for the other. You know, I'll do more driving this week, now I'll do more tarot this week. Couldn't mess people around, of course. Had to be organised, but I had to be testing it, checking it. What do I need to do? You know, what do I need to plan? What do I need to tell people? How can I manage this? So it's about getting things in balance, as you can see there with the cups, okay? And going in very, very gently, very, very slowly. This is also a great holiday card, obviously, because we've got the long distance travel. And Sagittarius is very much about long distance travel. Sometimes you might see this pop up, and something that people look at and marvel at, is the card I was looking for, is, let's say it pops up with that, okay? It can actually imply that this person's home, Four of Wands, or land, or property, yeah, could be that they have a link here to overseas. Can you see we've got conjunction here of long distance travel? If this pops in, might be looking at somebody having a holiday home abroad, or retiring abroad, or going to live abroad, or be able to work abroad, depend what other cards are around here. But there's exciting things that you can piece together by bringing in a major and minor card and looking at the rest of the details in the spread. Don't worry, slowly, gently, and I keep popping it in there just to kind of give you an idea of how I read and how it works and how you're going to be able to go, I think I can sort of see, put things together, it will make sense, rather than just going, well, out of this long list, which is it that applies to the person I'm reading for? You know, is it this thing? They don't want to know the whole list. You've got to be able to work out what it is, okay? So, socialising. It's a great card of socialising. Yeah, holiday card, big holiday card. If you look at the fact that the angel is pouring fluid from one cup to another, that's the moderation and balance and harmony. Moderation of all things, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Don't do things to excess. But it's also very much about the fact that socialising will tell you that quite often when we socialise, we eat and drink. It's also mixed cultures, of course it is. it's foreign travel, you know, it's connected to long distance travel. So you can sometimes see somebody's in a relationship and you see this card. Yeah, there may be Sagittarius, but it also might be that they're coming from a different culture, you know, as in their background is, you know, perhaps depending on which card it is, and I will be able to teach you about countries. You know, if you're getting swords, you know, this is probably coming up as in connection to the States. If you're getting pentacles, Europe, Africa, this kind of thing, and I'll go on and tell you the others another time. But it will give you clues, okay? So everything is but like picking up all the clues and bringing it all together, plus your gut feelings, plus your intuition. And believe it or not, you might just go ahead with your intuition because all your cards are out and it's just all resonated with you. Or you might want to just study it piece by piece and read very technically. I do both. It's just really, you know, depends who you've got and what's coming up, of course. So it's lovely. Finding the middle ground, finding a balance, finding a harmony, also the healing of finding a middle ground by being in the state of moderation and not doing things to an excess and taking things steady and being very gentle with yourself and allowing things to be in pieces. Um, you are in a place of getting moderation, getting middle ground, and allowing yourself to heal from, you know, what could have been pushing you in life when you've really not wanted it to. It's to do with your energy and your well-being. And so there's a little bit of taking care of yourself, a little bit of self-care going on here, healing, joining in with others, the mixing and the blending, and finding the right mix for you. So I love this card when it comes up. It tells me about travel, tells me about hotels, restaurants, socialising. It can even be social media, it depends on the other cards going on. It's the healing, it's the flow, it's somebody pulling into their self-care, looking after themselves. If you look after you, you can look after others, you see? So you get all of this kind of mixing and blending and flowing in a way that just simply puts it all together and brings everything into a balance and a harmony, which temperance certainly is. And as I said, if you find that a big old long list, try and think of aspects of yourself, of places you go, of people that you have met that some of these points could apply to. When you get that card out, it might pop into your head, oh gosh, I was looking at this card and I was thinking about when I had a coffee with that fellow that told me all about this, and I'm just picking that up and feeling that, and he was from such and such a place, you know, in Europe, and, you know, his background was, you know, he had a complete different traditional sort of aspect towards his principles. So I'm going to say that's going to be it for today. Have a little thing, go through your cards, do look at anything that jumps out at you, somebody you know, something that it reminds you of, something that it makes you think of, or something where you just went blank. And if you went blank, leave it, come back to it, okay? Go through the video, download your worksheets, and by all means always ask me. But I would say to you, please do support me by logging on to and subscribing onto my YouTube channel, where I can continue to make content for you over and over, where, you know, you've got this whole idea that you can subscribe, and, you know, it's quite simply, I'm able then to kind of monetize myself eventually. It's a big old long journey for me, but that's my intention. And if I can get monetized by adverts coming up on YouTube amongst my videos, I can make more videos and make that switch from A to B. At the moment, my life is very much temperance. I'm balancing what I am doing with doing paid readings, and I am available, as you can see, I've put it on screen here, I'm available for personal readings. There's the link to do so. If in the meantime, you know, you wish to actually just buy me a cup of coffee, I'll move that one down here. There you go, there's the link for that one. It's on there. Whoops. You can buy me a cup of coffee at Anne-Marie Tarot. it just helps. The more that I am able to have the time here, because I'm not committed to earning a living, the more I can do for you, the more I can help you. I'm more than happy to do that. Tell me what you want, you know. If I can, I'll make a video on it for you, or I'll be there to support you through the class or the workshop. I hope to come on and do some live reads, some I'll pull some cards for people, just one or two, if they actually want to have a bit of a longer reading. Again, I would actually say either contact me for a personal reading, just done on the telephone. It's not written. We do interact together, and we get on with your reading. If you're not sure how my readings are, go and look at YouTube. You'll see the celeb readings there, and more importantly, your own star sign. And your own star sign, I've done lots and lots of bits and pieces there. Some pick a card, where you can just have a question, pick a par, or look at your own star sign. And I've done a full reading. What I did is I broke that down into 7 weeks, so that you're able, if you're Cancer like me, to see part 1 and look at how I've got 44 cards out on the table. It's a brilliant example, folks, of how I read and how you can read going forwards. It's a long way off, of course, but it gives you the idea that just learning here, not only can you read the cards or learn the meanings of the cards, but you can go on to the intermediate, where you can put a reading together and understand what you're doing and how it works for you, and ask questions and have a tarot buddy and have me guide you, and have the public kind of go, I know you're a student, but could you answer this? And I know if you can't, Anne-Marie's there and she's going to help us. And I'm willing to be that guinea pig, and you've not upset me by practicing. That's what you want, okay? So that's what we're going to go on to do, and eventually then to be able to teach you advanced and how to put out such a big spread and know where one's life could actually lead in all the different houses and all the different influences and all the different aspects. So thank you. This is what it's all been about. I'm not waffling, I'm trying to tell you what's next, because it's not just about me showing up to do the cards, it's about you knowing what my intentions are to take you through the cards. If you want to drop off and say, it's me done, I just wanted to learn the cards, that's fine. I totally understand that. Maybe another time you'll find another method if it's not this one, whatever's right for you. So thanks for your time, folks, and please do join me for live tarot. I'll be popping on YouTube. Just come and say hi, ask me a question, and as I said, please do contact me if you want a personal reading. There's a link, annemarietaro.com, and that's where you can book a reading. I've got a calendar to let you know what to do and how to pay for it all. Okay? Till next time, thank you for having me. Bye-bye.